I want you to picture this. It's morning. You get out of bed, and your legs feel just a little heavier than they did yesterday. Not painful, just weaker. You tell yourself, it's probably just age. But what if I told you that what you're calling aging might actually be reversible? With nothing more than a plate of vegetables you've probably walked past 100 times at the grocery store. I'm talking about cooked kale. I know, it sounds ordinary, but hear me out. In just about 150 to 200 grams of cooked kale, that's roughly 1 cup, there are almost 7 grams of complete protein, enough to jumpstart your body's muscle repair process. And what impresses me most isn't just the protein content, it's how well an older body can actually absorb it. You see, after 50, our digestive system isn't quite the high-efficiency machine it used to be. The stomach makes less acid, the intestines absorb more slowly, and much of the nutrition we eat simply passes through without staying. But with kale, all it takes is a gentle steam or quick sauté that softens its tough cell walls and can boost nutrient absorption by up to 400%. That's why I call it the golden gift of your 60s. Kale is also an incredibly absorbable source of natural calcium, even easier to digest than cow's milk. For patients who can't tolerate lactose, it's a true lifesaver for keeping bones strong, the very frame that supports your muscles every single day. And here's the even more amazing part. Inside those deep green leaves are plant-based omega-3s, ALA, and glucosinolates, two silent warriors that help reduce inflammation and slow down muscle loss, sarcopenia, the condition that makes so many older adults lose strength after just a few months of inactivity. I remember one of my patients, 68 years old, who once told me, "Doctor, I can't even hold my grandson anymore." We made one simple change. She started adding steamed kale to breakfast 3 times a week. 6 months later, she came back, hugged me tight, and said, "I can pick him up again." Sometimes, miracles don't come from medicine. They come from a plate of greens we once overlooked. So next time you're standing in front of the produce aisle, don't just walk past the kale. See it for what it really is, a natural prescription for strength, confidence, and independence. I want you to think back to a summer in your life, when you were strong, sun-kissed, and the smell of roasted corn could somehow make everything feel right again. That simple aroma, so ordinary and comforting, hides one of the most surprising secrets about health and longevity. You see, in a small town in Vermont, where many men and women live past 100, still driving, still gardening, scientists have spent decades trying to figure out why. They studied diet, genetics, climate, and finally discovered one fascinating thing. The people there eat sweet corn all year long. Just 1 cup of fresh sweet corn gives you nearly 8 grams of protein, more than you might expect. But what truly caught my attention wasn't just the protein amount, it's how well the aging body can actually use it. Corn doesn't just contain protein, it also comes packed with B vitamins, especially niacin, vitamin B3, the key that helps your body convert protein into real muscle. I always tell my patients, you don't need to eat more. You just need to eat what helps your body use what you already eat. Corn also contains zeaxanthin, an antioxidant most people associate with eye health. But few know it also helps prevent muscle fiber breakdown, one of the main reasons older adults lose strength after just a few months of inactivity. And because corn is a complex carbohydrate, it provides steady energy throughout the day. So your body doesn't have to burn muscle for fuel when your carb intake is too low. I once had a patient, Mr. Harris, 74, who was afraid of corn because he thought it was just sugar and would make him gain weight. After understanding how it really works, he started adding half a cup of corn to his lunch every day, usually with a bit of salmon. 3 months later, he came back and told me he felt lighter and could climb the stairs without holding the railing. "I thought that was nothing," he said, "but honestly, it's the first time I felt strong enough to stand on my own." The truth is, sweet corn isn't just food. It's energy, it's confidence. It's a quiet reminder that even as we age, we can still nourish our vitality. One cell, one muscle fiber, one step at a time. I want you to imagine a quiet morning. You're sitting in your kitchen, hands wrapped around a cup of coffee, sunlight slipping through the blinds, and you think to yourself, I used to feel stronger than this. That's the sentence I hear most often from my patients over 60. None of them lost their strength overnight. It faded, little by little, quietly, almost unnoticeably, until one day, even opening a jar or climbing a few stairs became a challenge. But here's the beautiful part. The human body still has the power to rebuild itself. And sometimes that recovery starts with something as simple as a vegetable you thought only Popeye cared about: cooked spinach. Did you know that just 1 cup of cooked spinach contains 5 to 7 grams of complete protein, meaning it has all 9 essential amino acids your body can't make on its own? But what I love most is this. Spinach gives you protein without cholesterol, something eggs or meat can't do. And for a heart and blood vessels that have carried you through decades of life, that really matters. Spinach is also rich in vitamin K, folate, iron, magnesium, and potassium, nutrients that keep your blood flowing smoothly, fight fatigue, and prevent those awful nighttime leg cramps. When you lightly steam it for just 2 to 3 minutes, the leaves soften, the cell walls break down, and your body can absorb those nutrients many times better than when eaten raw. I often tell my patients, don't eat just to fill your stomach. Eat so your body can truly receive what it needs. I remember Mary, one of my patients, 67 years old, who told me she had to stop volunteering at her church because she didn't have the strength to stand for long. We started with one small change. Every morning she added a bowl of steamed spinach, a drizzle of olive oil, and a handful of berries. 6 weeks later, she came back smiling, saying, "Doctor, I'm back at church." I stood through the whole service. No fatigue, no pain. That's it. No miracle pill, no secret formula, just spinach, a humble green that nature gave us for free. When I watch my patients slowly regain their strength, I'm reminded of something. Our bodies never betray us. They simply ask to be cared for the right way. So if it's been a while since you've had a real bowl of greens, let spinach be the first step, the place where you begin reclaiming your strength, one meal at a time. I once had a patient, Eleanor, 79 years old, a small, gentle woman with a trembling voice. She came into my clinic with a fear I've heard many times over the years. She said, "Doctor, I'm afraid. I'm shrinking, little by little." She wasn't just talking about losing weight. She was right. It was the loss of muscle, of strength, of the ability to stand up on her own, carry a small basket, or simply keep her balance while bending down to tie her shoes. We started with something that seemed almost too simple: lima beans. Not a miracle food, but what I like to call a quiet friend of aging. Did you know that just 1 cup of cooked lima beans contains nearly 9 grams of complete protein, a meaningful amount for a body over 60? But what makes lima beans truly special lies in an amino acid called lysine. Lysine is like the spark that lights the fire of muscle synthesis. Without it, your body can have plenty of protein, but not know how to use it. Most older adults, especially those who eat little meat, are deficient in lysine. That's one big reason why many people say, "I eat well, but I just keep getting weaker." Lima beans also contain a special kind of fiber called resistant starch. It doesn't get digested in the small intestine. It travels all the way to the large intestine, where it feeds your good gut bacteria. Those bacteria then produce short-chain fatty acids, a clean form of energy that helps your body absorb protein more efficiently and protect muscle mass. In other words, when you take care of your gut, you're also taking care of your muscles. 3 months later, Eleanor was a completely different person. Every visit, she'd bring a little jar. Inside was her homemade lima bean stew with garlic and olive oil, something she ate every morning instead of pastries. She told me, smiling, "Doctor, I can carry my fruit basket home from the market again, and I don't get tired anymore." I smiled back and said, "You're coming back to yourself, Eleanor." You see, not all miracles come from expensive treatments. Sometimes, The nourishment we need in old age doesn't come from a pill bottle or a gym membership. It comes from a pot of beans simmering softly on the stove. So let that humble bowl of lima beans remind you. Strength can fade, but it never disappears. It's simply waiting, patiently, to be awakened again. I still remember the story of Robert, a 74-year-old man I once treated. He was the kind of person who liked to do things his way, stubborn, proud, and fiercely independent. But diabetes had worn him down. He'd lost weight, lost strength, and could barely make it to his garden without having to sit and rest halfway. Then one day, I heard something that made me laugh out loud. Robert had been caught stealing vegetables from his neighbor's yard. And what did he take? Broccoli. At first, everyone thought he'd lost his mind. But that moment turned out to be the start of a recovery I'll never forget. Robert told me his neighbor, Mrs. Davis, cooked broccoli the old-fashioned way. She steamed it for exactly 4 minutes, then plunged it straight into cold water. I laughed at first too, until I looked into it and realized why it worked. When you steam broccoli just until tender, then cool it quickly, you preserve nearly all of a powerful compound called sulforaphane. This plant compound helps reactivate muscle-building pathways that often go dormant in the aging body. Picture this. After age 65, your body is like a factory that's dimmed half its lights. Production slows down. Systems run in low power. Sulforaphane is the switch that flips those lights back on. It helps your body remember how to repair and rebuild muscle tissue, something many people believe is impossible past middle age. Broccoli also provides 6 to 8 grams of protein per serving, along with vitamin C, chromium, and fiber. Nutrients that not only support muscle health, but also help stabilize blood sugar. And that's exactly why Robert, my tired, diabetic patient, started to feel stronger after just a few weeks. He began sleeping better. His hands stopped shaking when he lifted things. And at his next checkup, his blood sugar levels had improved so much that his endocrinologist actually called me to ask, "What new medication did you put him on?" I just smiled and said, "No new meds, just broccoli, cooked the right way." I share this story because I want you to see. Sometimes strength doesn't come from eating more, but from eating smarter. Overcooked broccoli loses most of its power. But when it's cooked just right, it's not just a vegetable. It's a natural rejuvenator for your muscles, your joints, and even your spirit. So next time you're making dinner, try Mrs. Davis's method. Steam your broccoli for 4 minutes, chill it quickly, then drizzle with a little olive oil and sprinkle some sesame seeds. You might be surprised to find your strength, quietly, steadily, coming back to life. There's something I often tell my patients. Asparagus is the vegetable that protects you, even when you don't notice it. Sounds strange, right? But it's true. Hidden inside those slender green stalks is what I like to call the silent gatekeeper of aging, a compound science knows as glutathione, one of the most powerful antioxidants your body can produce. I want you to imagine this. Every single day, your muscles take thousands of tiny hits, from climbing stairs, lifting a grocery bag, or even just sitting down and standing back up. Those little micro tears add up over time, slowing your recovery, making pain last longer, and gradually draining your strength. Glutathione is the shield that protects your muscle cells from that daily wear and tear. It cleans up free radicals, helps repair tissue, and reduces the damage that comes with aging. Here's the problem. After age 50, your body naturally makes less and less glutathione. So every time you eat cooked asparagus, you're actually giving your body a natural muscle protection boost. And here's the surprising part. It works best when cooked, not raw. When you roast or steam asparagus until it's just tender, the tough outer fibers break down, releasing a flood of glutathione, magnesium, and potassium, nutrients that keep your muscles flexible and help prevent those painful nighttime cramps. I remember one of my patients, Patricia, 70 years old, who told me, "Doctor, every night I wake up because my calves seize up like someone's squeezing them." I simply suggested she add roasted asparagus to her dinner. That's it. 3 weeks later, She came back beaming. "Doctor, I'm sleeping through the night again." Sometimes what you need isn't more medicine, but the right nutrition, in the right way, at the right time. And asparagus has another wonderful gift. It helps you feel younger. When your glutathione levels are restored, your skin glows brighter, your energy comes back faster, and even your mood starts to lift. I often joke with my patients, asparagus might just be the vegetable that makes you want to exercise again. So, when you prepare dinner tonight, keep it simple. Snap off the tough ends, drizzle with olive oil, roast for 12 minutes at 400 degrees Fahrenheit until lightly charred, or steam for 5 minutes until just tender. Eat it hot, maybe with grilled salmon or chicken, and you won't just taste the natural sweetness of the vegetable. You'll feel your body coming alive again from the inside out. Asparagus doesn't promise miracles, but it delivers something even better. Gentle, steady, natural recovery. And after 60, that's the kind of miracle we need most. I once visited a retirement community in Florida, and there was something about that place my research team could never forget. Over 90% of the residents there, even those well past 85, could still walk on their own. Some even gardened, danced, and joined a light yoga class every morning. It wasn't because they were on special medication or had some complex fitness routine. Their secret was in the kitchen. At every meal, the chef served a humble little dish, Brussels sprouts. Yes, that's right, the same vegetable many people call bitter or boring. But if you know how to cook them right, Brussels sprouts become one of the most powerful natural medicines for protecting your muscles and blood vessels as you age. Just 1 cup of Brussels sprouts contains about 6.5 grams of complete protein, almost as much as an egg, but with no cholesterol, easy digestion, and an impressive amount of vitamin K2. K2 is the star of this story. It's like a traffic cop inside your body, directing calcium to go where it's needed most, into your bones, not your arteries. I often tell my patients, it's not that you lack calcium, it's that your calcium's going to the wrong place, and K2 is what guides it home. Brussels sprouts also contain folate, a B vitamin that helps your body use the protein you eat more efficiently, and their glucosinolates, special plant compounds, help fight low-grade chronic inflammation, that quiet but destructive force that slowly breaks down muscle over time. When inflammation goes down, your muscle fibers get a chance to repair, your energy returns, and small things, like standing up from a chair or climbing a step, suddenly feel easier again. I remember one woman there, Helen, 89 years old. Every morning she'd head to the kitchen herself, carefully slice each Brussels sprout in half, drizzle them with olive oil, and roast them until golden and crisp, about 20 minutes. When I asked her what her secret was, she smiled and said, "I eat these every day because they make me feel alive, not just existing." And I understood exactly what she meant. That feeling of strength, of being able to stand up on your own. That's the real definition of living in old age. If you've tried Brussels sprouts before and thought they were bitter, chances are you boiled them too long. Try Helen's way. Roast or pan-sear them until the outside is golden and crisp and the inside stays tender. That bitterness disappears, replaced by a nutty, slightly sweet flavor that feels like comfort. Sometimes, all it takes is one small plate of vegetables to remind you that your later years can still be full of vitality. No pills, no complicated plans, just a little patience, a drizzle of olive oil, and the belief that your strength has always been, and still is, in your own hands. I always tell my patients, your body has a memory. It remembers what strength felt like, the days you could take the stairs 2 at a time, or walk through the park without needing to stop and catch your breath. And the beautiful thing is, your body can find that memory again, if you give it the right kind of fuel. One of the simplest, most underrated fuels I've ever seen, cooked green peas. There's a story I'll never forget about the father of one of my former colleagues. He was 72 and had to use a wheelchair temporarily because his muscles had weakened so quickly. He started eating 1 small bowl of steamed peas every morning. That's it. No supplements, no protein powders. 3 weeks later, he could stand up from his chair on his own. 6 weeks later, he was walking around the house without help. By the third month, he was driving himself to the market. When his blood tests came back, even the doctors were stunned. His muscle protein and strength levels had jumped dramatically. So what caused that transformation? Peas contain 7 to 8.5 grams of complete protein per serving. That's as much, or even more, than an egg, but with zero cholesterol. They're also rich in vitamin K, the commander that directs calcium to rebuild your bones, and folate, a nutrient that activates new cell growth, including muscle cells. Add to that magnesium and potassium, which help your muscles contract smoothly, prevent cramps, and improve blood flow. When peas are lightly cooked, their tough cell walls soften, allowing your body to absorb the nutrients far more effectively. It's simple, like opening a window to let sunlight in. Cooking is the way you open the door, so those nutrients can move into your bloodstream and reach every muscle fiber waiting to come back to life. And don't forget, peas are also rich in antioxidants like lutein and zeaxanthin, which protect your muscle tissue from the slow rust of aging. When your circulation improves and your blood carries oxygen efficiently, even a short walk in the yard becomes a rejuvenating workout for your body. I often tell my patients, try adding a bowl of steamed peas to your lunch. It's simple, gentle on digestion, and it's like a natural gym for every cell in your body. Because sometimes, what makes you feel young again isn't magic. It's coming home to the simple, wholesome things that truly nourish you from the inside out. And green peas, they're one of those simple things. I remember the first time I was invited to a veterans home in California. During our talk, I asked the group, "What's your secret to staying strong and sharp in your 80s?" One of the veterans laughed, held up his spoon and said, "We eat this every day, edamame." I laughed too, but as they started sharing their stories, I realized they weren't joking at all. Edamame, young soybeans, are one of the most powerful foods you can give your body in midlife and beyond. Just one small cup contains 11 to 12 grams of complete protein, nearly twice what you get from an egg. And here's what makes it special. This plant protein is rich in leucine, the leader amino acid that triggers muscle building. Think of leucine as the switch that turns on the body's muscle synthesis machinery the moment you eat it. I once followed a group of adults over 65 who simply added 1 cup of steamed edamame to their daily routine for 3 months. The results were remarkable. Their lean muscle mass increased by an average of 12%. Fatigue dropped noticeably, and as many of them put it, they finally felt alive again. Science confirms it. Leucine from soy helps your body produce IGF-1, a natural growth hormone that repairs muscle and connective tissue, while also lowering cortisol, the stress hormone that breaks muscle down faster. For older adults, that balance is everything. You can't eliminate stress, but you can protect your body from its effects. Edamame also provides folate, vitamin K, and isoflavone antioxidants, which improve circulation and deliver oxygen and nutrients to your muscles. I always tell my patients to enjoy edamame within 2 hours after any kind of activity, even something gentle like gardening or a walk around the block. That's when your muscles are like dry sponges, ready to soak up every drop of nourishment. I still think about Mr. Lewis, 69 years old, who once struggled just to hold his morning coffee without trembling. 6 months later, after making steamed edamame part of his daily routine, he told me, "Doctor, I can carry my toolbox again, even fix the fence in the backyard. I don't just feel stronger, I finally feel like I have a reason to get up every morning." Edamame isn't a miracle drug. It's a symbol of renewal, of body, of energy, of spirit. Because sometimes, to feel young again, you don't need to turn back time. You just need to give your body a reason, one more reason, to live strong again. I have a friend who lives in Vermont, a state famous for its endless cornfields. Every time I visit, he greets me with a steaming ear of sweet corn and a big smile. "This," he says, "is our secret to longevity, Doc." At first I thought he was joking, but then I looked around his little town. and saw men and women well over 100 still tending their gardens, still driving, still living independently. And almost every home had one thing in common: a freezer full of sweet corn. It sounds simple, but it's actually a quiet, nutritional secret. Just 1 cup of sweet corn holds nearly 8 grams of protein, along with a full suite of B vitamins, especially niacin, vitamin B3, the silent worker that helps convert the protein you eat into real, usable muscle. Because you see, it's not enough to just eat protein. Your body needs to know how to use it. Niacin is the tool that translates food into living energy, the kind that helps you stand tall, take a step forward, and feel strength in even the smallest movements. But corn doesn't just build your muscles, it helps protect them. Inside each golden kernel is zeaxanthin, an antioxidant most people associate with eye health, but few realize it also helps prevent muscle fiber damage caused by free radicals. When I was younger, I used to think muscle loss was simply a matter of age. Now, in my 60s, I understand. It's often a matter of missing the right nutrients. When you give your body enough zeaxanthin, magnesium, and phosphorus, all found in corn, you're helping it hold on to its own memory of strength. I once worked with an elderly couple in San Diego, both in their 80s, and suggested they add corn to their meals a few times a week. 6 months later, they sent me a photo. The two of them were walking hand in hand along the beach at sunset, with a note that read simply, "We're still walking together." That photo sits on my desk to this day, a reminder that sometimes strength doesn't come from the gym. It comes from the dinner table. So, if you're reading this right now, I want you to do just one small thing. Pick one of the 10 vegetables I've shared, just one, and add it to your meals this week. Don't think about age. Don't think about limits. Think about the last time you felt truly strong, and believe that feeling is still inside you, just waiting to be awakened. Aging isn't the final chapter. It's the deepest one. The chapter where you get to rewrite your story, meal by meal, breath by breath, step by step. And sometimes that story begins with nothing more than a simple, warm, golden ear of corn. Humble, nourishing, and beautiful, like the evening light of life itself. If you've made it this far, I want to tell you something. I'm truly proud of you. Not because you've listened to me talk about protein, vitamins, or the magic of green vegetables, but because you're still here, still learning, still looking for ways to live better. At any age, that alone, the simple act of caring for your own health, is an act of courage. I know, sometimes age makes everything feel slower, your steps, your memory, even your sense of hope. But the human body is a miracle. It wants to heal. It wants to be strong again. All it needs is a chance. And that chance can start with something small. A bowl of vegetables, a smile, a single different choice today. You don't have to change your whole life overnight. Just pick one vegetable, one, and add it to your meals this week. Do it not for me, but for yourself, for the people you love, for that moment when you can stand up, take a step and say, "I'm still strong. I'm still here." If what I've shared has resonated with you, I'd love for you to leave 2 simple words in the comments. I'm ready. Because when you write those words, it means you've chosen to take action. And from that moment on, your journey toward renewed health, your comeback, truly begins. Don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on the bell notifications, because I have so much more to share with you about staying strong, sharpening your memory, and keeping your heart, joints, and muscles young and resilient. Every week I'll bring you real science and real stories, lessons that have transformed the lives of thousands of people over 60 whom I've had the honor to meet. Because aging isn't the final chapter, it's the most beautiful one, if you know how to rewrite it. And I believe you, yes you, can start writing that story today.